Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my taxi thorough. Way I'm shooting like step, but my pass is bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in their fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told them I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, they knowin' I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made out the flows. Might get a couple more poppin' if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And they tell me slow down cause dog I'm moving too fast. Might go and cop me a Tesla cause dog I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Woo! Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair, took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How with the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoes, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need cheap keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. Bitcoin getting the bigger bounce from the lows here, looking to potentially put in a new high as we have the 4-hour money flow crossing over into the green. We are long for the bounce, guys. Are we headed to $95,000 to $96,000? Can we make it? Can Bitcoin give us the move? We're going to be talking about it today on tonight's live stream. What is the money flow doing? Can we see the continued retracement here as Bitcoin not only bounces from our local key levels, but it continues to hold our major level of support between $85,000 and $82,000, guys. Can we make it? Is Bitcoin about to turn around? Well, we're going to take a look at the charts. I'll try to give you guys an idea of what I'm looking at. We'll try to take a look at some of the altcoins as well, because I know a lot of you guys are here for the alts. And, yeah, we'll talk about the trades, the key levels, all the good stuff. So stay tuned, Mafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We got Axmail in the chat, said, party time. What is going on, brother? Welcome in. We got the War Player in the chat. Welcome in, brother. Good to see you in here. Crypto Gardenist in the chat said, hello, all LFG. Let's see here. We got Nirvana in the chat. What is going on? Nirvana said the top is not in. Well, we hope so, brother. We hope so. Higher time frame still looking pretty bearish here, guys, but we have been talking about a potentially bigger retracement, maybe targeting the 50-week moving average at about $102,000. Once we get up there, we can reanalyze the charts and try to figure out if we are finally going to see something different come out of these cycles. Is the bull market going to continue? Well, right now the higher time frames still look bad, but that can change, guys. And I'll talk to you about what I want to see. And more importantly, I'll talk about the local level that we have to flip here in order to see the next target. We're going to play it level to level here. We'll talk about the level we have to flip to see $95,000 to $96,000. And then hopefully we can keep stair-stepping our way up there to the 50-week moving average. And if we could flip that, we can start to entertain some higher prices on Bitcoin. Can we dodge the bear market, guys? I hope so. Let's see. Pump us. Shout out to... that one guy, shout out to you, man. Welcome in. Everybody knows that one guy. I think everybody has that one guy. We got Darren Does Things, Jesse in the chat, Tony D. We got our mods in the chat here, guys. Show the mods some love if you love them as much as we do. And we got a lot to talk about here today, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so here we are on the Bitcoin chart. I'm going to hide these MPOCs, and obviously Bitcoin getting the nice little pop to the upside. Now, if you guys tuned into yesterday's live stream, you will know that we were taking that long position here from the golden pocket. There were a few different reasons we were taking that long down here. We had the golden pocket, we had the POC of the range, and we also had a daily naked point of control. This was that zone of support that we were looking at, and we were looking for very specific bullish confirmations here to look to take that position up. And yesterday, guys, I was a little bit suspicious about actually being able to come up here and breaking this high. But one of the reasons, right, that we talked about on Friday, the reason if we were to get this drop down that we could be looking for bounces for potential higher lows and higher highs to come in had to do with that 4-hour money flow crossing into the green here, and you can see it still cooking into the green. But yesterday, as we were getting the bounce, guys, obviously took that long position. I guess I could pull that up right here as well. There is that long position up almost 5,000 and change on that long position. Not too shabby here. Pretty nice entry. Stop loss at break even. Profits locked in. Guaranteed winning trade here. CandleMafia style. But we'll come back to that in a second, but, on Friday we talked about the idea, guys, when we have this 4-hour money flow in the green, it does indicate that you could potentially see the continuation of that trend to the upside, which would obviously call for a break of a structure to the upside, cracking this wick here at about $93,146. But when we were looking at the chart yesterday, I was feeling a little suspicious here because when we looked at the 3-hour, it did look like that money flow was looking to come out here. We got a little pop to the upside, which was not enough for me to be like, hey, that's going to be a fake out. But you can see since then we have actually gotten a pretty significant pop-up on money flow. And, of course, even with that suspicious-looking money flow here, guys, this signal on the 4-hour with, of course, our bullish divergences that we got down here, exactly as we were looking at in the Discord, we wanted to see these exact confirmations. Let me see if I can pull that setup just to kind of show you guys what we were looking at, right? We were looking for price to come into this zone, and this was posted quite a while ago, guys. This was before we even got the push up to 91 to 92K, but we were, patiently waiting to come down here and see those bullish divergences form, and you can see price did eventually come down there and give us those beautiful 15-minute and multiple time frame bullish divergences with our lower lows on our price action, higher lows on our momentum waves, money flow coming up, and that, when we come down to that key level, we get the confirmations. I am simply going to take that trade. Now, not only did we have this local level of support, but as you guys know, this $85,000 to $82,000 zone has been a major level, and one of the big reasons for that is the fact that it is our 786 Fibonacci retracement. This is the Fibonacci retracement that we were looking at on the higher time frames, just kind of talking about even when we were looking at our macro volume profile here. Let me see. Do I still have this range on the chart? There it is. We have the golden pocket confluent with the value area low. This was our first opportunity to get a bounce and the first place where we were willing to look for some kind of a retracement up, right? Because even if those high time frames are still looking bearish with money flow, we could still see these significant rallies to the upside. And yes, that would be even if we are entering a bear market, you could still see these significant rallies. Obviously, that golden pocket failed, and this 786, guys, was the last opportunity to bounce. We got the big drop down, and we have now gotten above it, flipped it to support, and we are attempting to push back into this macro volume profile. So just to kind of talk about how important this resistance is, right? That macro 786, once we lose that, guys, we are eventually, if we lose this, right, going to be looking for a break of structure to the downside on the higher time frames. But if we want that bigger retracement to come in on Bitcoin, this is kind of the last zone to get it from. So beautiful that we're holding above that 786, guys. We really needed that. And I could take this golden pocket off the chart. I'll take the 786 off as well. But I will keep the range up here because, of course, guys, this macro value area low is going to be very important because, of course, when we look at the volume profiles, guys, when we deviate below the range lows, this is the opportunity to get back inside the range, flip this level 2 support, and then get that bigger push up towards the POC of the range, which does sit between about $95,000 and $97,000. Now, there are actually a few different ranges I'm looking at here. We're looking at this volume profile pulled to right before we got the bigger breakout, and then we also have our current major volume profile pulled to the current price action. You guys can see all these value area lows are very close to each other, and the goal here, guys, is to get accepted into this value, and if we can hold these value area lows as support, right, that next stop is going to be $95,000 to $97,000, as we have looked at over the past couple of live streams, and this would be kind of the first big level to flip into support in order to maybe get that bigger retracement up to, a few different levels here. We have obviously $108,000, which is a major golden pocket. It's also confluent with our, well, I'll pull up that volume profile in a second, but if I pull up this range here, guys, again, same value area low. The number, I'll give you guys the numerical number I'm looking to flip here, but, it's right here, pretty much 92,000, call it 92,329. If we can get up here, guys, looking into that $95,000 to $97,000 zone, once we flip that, we can attempt to get that bigger push into that $102,000 area, and this, of course, is going to be the 50-week moving average, which is the biggest level on the chart right now. Now, we do have some confluence up there. We have the 50-week moving average. We have the daily MPOC. We have a weekly MPOC up there. No monthly, but we do have this confluence right here. And, of course, when we get those multiple weekly candle closures below the 50-week moving average, this is really the big level, guys. If we can get this bigger retracement, this is what we're hoping for, obviously, for some relief on Bitcoin, right? And then, obviously, this is something we've been looking at to hopefully give the altcoins a pop to the upside as well. And, I know there is an opportunity, right? Like, anything can happen here, guys. We could shoot into all-time highs, but we do have a lot of resistance above. So I'm personally going to play this level to level. But this 50-week moving average, ignoring this first level here, this is obviously going to be big resistance. But, once we break into this range, guys, deviation below the low, flip the value area low to support. Next likely place for price to go is going to be that POC, big resistance. And then eventually, if we can get a reclaim of that POC, we're just going to look simply to go up to that value area high, which obviously does have the confluence here with the 50-week moving average, which is the biggest level on the chart, in my opinion, right now, because anytime we have gotten multiple weekly candle closures below the 50-week moving average, guys, any retracement into that zone has been has been proven, right, to be major resistance. We could not get above it in 2021. We could not get above it in 2017. Let me pull that up in 2017, right? We got the retracement, wound up getting stuck. And then we get the bigger move into the bear market, right? And this is all in the same context of all the higher time frame money flow coming out, which unfortunately is still the case here on the higher time frames. Hopefully we could see this turn around, guys. If we're going to be looking for all-time highs, if you want to look for all-time highs, you need not only the weekly money flow to give a big crank to the upside, you're going to need that 5-day to turn around really aggressively. This is still obviously in the red. 3-day money flow still in the red here. 2-day money flow still in the red here. So you still got to be careful here on the higher time frames. But at the end of the day, guys, like, it could be pretty significant relief coming in here if we even just get a push up to the 50-week moving average, about a 27% pump. And then, of course, we have some higher targets around $116,000. But we'll cross that bridge when those levels become a little bit more relevant. So yeah, I mean, we're on the journey here, guys. If we can get accepted into that volume profile, it'd be very, very nice to see some relief come in. But to be honest, right, like, the only time, I will be entertaining an potential push into new all-time highs, right, is when we take this bigger range off, right? We'll pull up our macro volume profile. We still have the value area high at $116,000. So if I just hide some of these local levels, hide some of this stuff, just look at it in the context of our larger ranges. Bada boom, take off the daily MPOC, take off that daily MPOC, right? If we can get above here, hold it as support, POC, flip it to support, got the 50-week moving average on those local value area highs, and then once we get above that, the final target, right, the major target would be about $116,000, where we also know we have a lot of liquidity sitting above these wicks. And this could be very nice, right? Now, I can't guarantee this is definitely going to happen just because of the way the higher time frame money flow looks. But, I mean, if we see this money flow creep up, guys, it is what it is going to be what it is, right? Like, if money flow fakes out, that is a total change in analysis, right? But until we see that happen, it's just not happening just yet. We'll see. Maybe this 2-day red dot drags us deeper into the red. But the hope here is that we can get this to creep up. So my longer-term sentiment still has to remain. I'm still bearish, right, long-term. But this is kind of hard. This is one of the hardest parts of my job, guys, because it's like I'm bullish for now, right? At least for maybe a continuation up to 96K. But over the long haul, right? It's like for me to really get excited, we really got to break out of this $116,000 value area high. And that's where we could potentially start looking for all-time highs. But of course, not only do we have a long way to go, we have a lot of that local resistance coming in ahead of us. So we just have to be very, very careful around these resistance levels. And we'll keep you guys updated here every step of the way. If we get up here and it looks like we're going to turn around and get a massive dump down to lower prices, which is definitely possible, we'll have the signs up there. It's impossible for me to tell what things are going to look like up here. We're just going to have to wait for that information to pop up on the charts. There's new information every single day, and you cannot ignore it, right? If we get up here and money flow flips into the green, we can't just be like, it still looks like trash. Now, why would we not say that? Well, it's because it wouldn't look like trash if the money flow was coming up. It would look good, and then we can confidently say, hey, maybe we can look for some higher prices. But we're going to take it step by step. Next major target, $95,000 to $97,000. This is obviously a level we've been looking at forever. You have the daily MPOCs. You have the weekly MPOC, the point of control of the range. But this is the current value area that I'll be looking at. Value area low sitting at about $92,360. Flip that to support. Next zone, currently sitting at $95,180 to, I'm going to call it $97,000. And then, I am interested in shorts up here. And there's two kind of scenarios, right? We've actually talked about this previously on the live stream. If I am going to be taking shorts up here, there's kind of two things that we can look at. Obviously, this could be a big level to look at for a rejection because if we pull our Fibonacci retracement from the lower high to the low, you have a golden pocket here. It is an opportunity to potentially put in a lower high before seeing that bigger drop to the downside. That is going to depend on what money flow looks like when we get up there. But I will be interested in rejections there. And the two ways I could potentially see that playing out is, well, we're above the value area low. There's your resistance at the POC. Maybe that ends up being the lower high at the golden pocket for massively lower prices. But we do have an opportunity to kind of wiggle around here in the POC. As long as we stay above that value area low, we could hold it as support and then just continue up through our profile. In order to see this happen, we need to have the higher time frame money flow come back into the green, right? Daily money flow. We do have the green dot, but daily money flow is still deep in the red. 2-day money flow is still significantly in the red here. We'll see what this red dot can give us. But if we can creep up here, guys, and get this money flow all to crank back into the green, we'll just be viewing this as a typical volume profile, giving us that beautiful roadmap for the next place for price to go, right? Very simply, we know once you get above the value area low, POC is the next likely place, flip the POC, value area high is next. These are the biggest three major levels on the chart. Now, is it possible that we can reject from here right now? I feel pretty good, right? Which, take that with a grain of salt. Yesterday, I was kind of suspicious about this long position, but it did end up playing out. I want to be clear here. Like I said earlier in the stream, just because I'm a little bit suspicious about this position does not change whether I take the position or not. Now, why is that? Well, it's because we simply had been waiting for this level on the chart for quite some time. And when those alerts go off, when we push into those levels, it's very simple. Did I hit the key level? Yes. Did I get bullish confirmations, which in this case were bullish divergences? We absolutely got those on the lower time frames. You could even see it here on the 30-minute. Lower lows on your price action into your key level. Higher lows on your momentum waves, and bada boom, right? You get the bounce. And even if that money flow looks right? We hit the key level, see the confirmations, take the trade. Worst case scenario is it wouldn't have played out, and we would have gotten stopped out for a small loss, and our short from $91,000 would have continued to play out, which I am now stopped out of that position. So absolutely beautiful here. Very, very technical move, and very nice to see the support on the golden pocket with our money flow continuing up on many different time frames here, at least many different lower time frames, like the 4-hour, like the 5-hour. Make this a little bigger so you guys can actually see it. 6-hour money flow also beautifully coming into the green here. And this, I actually don't hate this, guys, because we have a big red money flow wave, and it is now finally starting to cross over into the green. Now, of course, this isn't necessarily a sign that new all-time highs is next, because this is the 6-hour, right? 6-hour money flow crossing into the green is not going to trump the 3-day, the 4-day, the 5-day, the 6-day, but it could be nice for a local continuation up for some of that bigger relief rally. Very nice, right? And hopefully that is going to be good for altcoins as well. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance and all that good stuff. I'll give you guys my thoughts on that as well. But just kind of sitting in my long position, profits locked in here, and we'll see if we can get this to continue to play out to higher prices. Now, locally, we are coming into this range, or coming into this zone. We're above the 786 Fibonacci retracement, which is nice, but you can see we are currently hitting our head directly on that value area low. This is the level, guys, about $92,300. Get above this, it could open the door into that bigger zone, right? And then that'd be very, very nice for the long position. And I actually covered this on the market update. If we do get a pullback, the key levels that I'll be looking at are very simple. We're going to pull back up that mini range that we have down below. We have the $88,600 value area high, which is confluent. It's not confluent with the full golden pocket retracement. You guys can see here there's no real confluence on this Fibonacci retracement, but if we pull it to where things got very, very impulsive here, you can see we do have golden pocket 786 confluence here. In my opinion, I would really like to stay above this value area high. So I'm going to look at these as two separate zones. Golden pocket 786. I like the value area high on that golden pocket. So if we did have to get a cool off here, you're hoping that you can hold a higher low here on that mini range high and then eventually get a bigger rotation into that macro range and get that bigger push to the upside. So I'm sitting in the long, guys. Hopefully we can hold it. We're back above the anchor VWAP. We're back above the 786. This is our next level, $92,300. Let's flip it to support and get the bigger push up. And of course, if we look at this 45-minute, guys, it does look somewhat like we could get this green dot and print a bearish divergence, which isn't as bearish as it sounds, right? Like, Frankie, why are you saying that? That sounds bearish. But in order to put in this bearish divergence, if we're going to see that print like that, well, it would call for a break of structure to the upside here, which would be very nice. So that's what I'm looking at here. And also on the market update, guys, we were looking at that 12-hour green dot and our 16-hour green dot with our 45-minute money flow crossing into the green. That's that market cipher B 1/16th bullish setup between the 12-hour and the 45-minute. You see that 12-hour green dot with the 45-minute money flow coming up at the same time. It does indicate that that trend will continue to the upside. And then that 16-hour green dot with our 1-hour money flow could also indicate that the trend can continue up. 1 hour also looking like it might want to print a little bit of a bull div. We need this money flow to stay in the green. And I believe even yesterday what we were looking at was that 30-minute money flow crossover. Right, it's the same thing we looked at yesterday to anticipate the continuation of this long. 30-minute money flow crosses into the green at the same time as our green dot here on the 8-hour. Once you see that 30-minute money flow cross over, you're looking for that 30-minute trend to continue with higher lows and higher highs, right? You're looking for that trend to continue up. Money flow always indicates the overall trend. It doesn't call the pullbacks, doesn't call the pullbacks, doesn't call the pullbacks. It just indicates the trend. So that played out beautifully. Shout out to the long. And we now have that same setup here on the 12-hour, 16-hour, with the 1 hour and 45-minute money flow. So hopefully we can see that continue. Doesn't mean we can't pull back here, but hopefully we can stay on top of this value area high because, of course, guys, even if you're not looking at the Fibonacci retracements, if you get back accepted into this range, well, very likely we're going to head back down to that POC. If we lose the POC, we're going to be looking down to that value area low. So nice roadmap for price on the way to the downside and nice roadmap for price to higher roadmap for price into the higher prices, right? Or higher targets, I should say. So yeah. Just kind of bing-bonging around these two volume profiles. We want to stay out of this one, and we want to get accepted into this one. You can just see how accurate these levels, guys, are. It's like perfect rejection, and we literally tap this to the dollar. So we'll see. This is the big zone, guys. We got to get up here. I'm okay with a little pullback, but we really want to see that continuation up, and we need to get back in this range, right? Yesterday it looked very bearish because we got a very clean dump from that from the bearish retest of that value area low, right? Which is not really what you want to see. Value area lows are always going to be resistance until proven otherwise. And we obviously lost it, got back up, got the hard rejection, but Bitcoin decided to scam back up here. Absolutely love it. So we'll see if we can make it up to 95 to 96K. Is it incoming? It's definitely a possibility here, guys, with the way money flow looks. Obviously not 100% probability, but it is looking nice. That is the condition we need. Must flip that level. So let me come on into our chat here and see what everybody's thinking. What are we looking for? Let's see. Shout out to Lord Bra. I think that's how you say it. Shout out to you, brother. Good to see you in here. He says, yo, Frankie, can we open a long from $91,900? I mean, you could technically open a long from wherever you want. For me personally, right, like, I would not, it's not really a place where I would take a long, right? Like, and now it doesn't mean that you can't continue up, and, I wouldn't say I wouldn't enter a long here because it's definitely not going to go up. The reason I would not enter a long here is, I talk about this all the time. Just because you have a bias on price does not mean that you have a good trade setup, right? The trade setup here, understand where we took these positions, right? The short position was taken as we pushed up into resistance. As price is coming up, we are taking those short positions. I was only interested in longs, and just to kind of hammer this home a little bit more, I was not on the chart for my long position here at the $80,000 value area low, right? We came from the high, back to the PLC, back to the low. We got some nice confirmations here. I was not there to take the position, and this came up, right, without me. I don't believe I took any longs there, right? I was just patiently waiting for the high confidence short setup, which was up here. And, of course, we got the big drop down, and the next long position I was interested in was simply at this golden pocket 786. Now, notice this. I was only looking to take the position here as price was coming down. This is the way I trade. Could you try to catch a breakout there? You know, there's no saying that it can't go, there's no saying that you have to get the retracement first. But if I were personally looking for a long position, this would just be too late for me, right? You've already gotten a significant rise up. Doesn't mean it can't continue, but at this point, right, if I were to enter a long position here, it'll come up to like the 1 hour time frame, pretty aggressive push up. It's kind of difficult, right? Because if you're going to put your stop loss below a significant low, like where's your next significant low? If you just enter in right here, targeting this, right? Like your last significant low is all the way down here. This is a horrible risk to reward, unless you were to take like a lower time frame entry. Now, if I were to enter a trade up here, what I would really have to wait for, which is probably going to be difficult because I wouldn't really want to chase it. Maybe you get the move up into the POC, you get a cool off to retest the value area low, and then I would be looking to potentially take that long position. This is just the way that I trade, right? Like there's just no real situation here unless I was like on the lower time frames. I'm not going to say I would never take a trade up here, but just to kind of give you an idea of why I wouldn't like to take this, it's like in this case, if I were not in my long position, I'd already missed this entire move up. This is not necessarily where I want to enter, right? Again, it's not saying it can't just Lambo candle up here, but at the end of the day, it's like the same thing here. It's like, if I were long from down here and someone were to ask me like, hey, can I enter a long position here? It's like, it's not totally out of the, it's not totally whacked out because if you can flip that value area low, right, you could just look at this as a volume profile trade and say, well, hey, if I go long from the value area low, I can eventually target the value area high. I just can't enter as price is pushing up. I would need to see something like this, retest, and then take that trade. But again, you have to make your own decisions. There's no saying that maybe you take the long here and it takes off. It's just not a place where I would be taking a trade. And, I practice what I preach here. I missed the long down here. I did not take any positions. I just waited for the short. Bada boom. And then we wait patiently for the long. Oftentimes, right? Not every time, right? But oftentimes, Bitcoin will give you some kind of a actually, I don't know. As an asset in whole, Bitcoin does not like to give a lot of opportunities when it starts to get going, right? If we start going mega bullish here, it's going to be hard to catch a long, but that does not mean FOMO, right? So you just got to be careful. I would be more inclined to wait for a pullback, a push up and then a pullback into the zone. But at the end of the day, right, like long from the value area low. And it's again, right, we're pushing into resistance. On top of that, you have the 4-hour red dot. Not necessarily looking to print, but you can see this VWAP is starting to cool off. It's just, I like to get in when everything is rounding to the upside, right? You can see here, even on those low time frame confirmations that we took, VWAP on the 4-hour was coming up, looking to print a green dot. Right now, that green dot is already played out, and we might be ready to print some kind of a 4-hour red dot for some kind of a pullback, right? So just for me personally, it's not saying that it can't play out. I'm not saying it's a stupid trade or anything like that. It's just not the way I would look to do it. But yeah, not that you can't long value area lows, but I would need to see like a pullback into that level. That will definitely be an opportunity if we do get the pullback from the POC, assuming that money flow doesn't look horrible up there. So shout out to Lord Bra. Hopefully that helps you out, brother. Thanks for this amazing answer. Shout out to Lord Bra. No problemo, brother. That is why we're here. Shout out to Vision Pulsed said XRP is dumping. I mean, I guess it is dumping from up here. I would not call that a dump. But yeah, we'll come back into the altcoins in just a second. I want to finish up Bitcoin first. So yeah, guys, $92,300. We got to stay above this zone. That's the next level. I don't want to overcomplicate this. Watch the. We also have our daily green dot. 90-minute money flow trying to cross into the green here. We actually had the opposite scenario here printing recently with our 90-minute money flow crossing into the red. Get the big drop down. Now we have the green dot printing and the 90-minute money flow crossing up. Hopefully this can help us with that trend to the upside. And on top of this, guys, before we ever really got this bigger move up, right? Even before we got this bigger move up, kind of talking about, even though we are in much more, obviously, a much more bearish environment, there are going to be retracements. Not everything goes up in a straight line forever, and nothing goes down in a straight line forever, unless it's like a rug pull. Obviously, some things do go down. Look at the respect here on the value area low and the POC. Bada boom. Absolutely beautiful. But when we look at this, right, like you don't want to get overly bearish at the lows, right? Obviously, we were bearish. We took the short at the all-time high. We had the short from 116K. We had the short from 107.4 in the premium Discord. And, of course, we took this short up here at $92,000 on the first drop. But you don't want to get, like, overly bearish here at the lows because, like, what if we're getting ready for some kind of a retracement, right? We've already gotten a significant move down. Maybe we can get some relief, and then the bigger short swing shorts could be had at higher prices. And you don't want to get like super overly bearish after you've already gotten a big move down. For me personally, obviously this was an opportunity to have this short play out for a bigger drop down. Obviously that's invalidated at this point. But, we're at major support, right? There's your 786. We're holding on top of it. It's sitting like almost right here on the POC. And, that's a very, very key level to remain above. So hopefully, we can get a little bit of momentum to the upside, push into $95,000 to $97,000, $102,000 to $103,000. Once we get above that, we can start looking at $108,000. And then once we start cracking above here, guys, I'm going to be targeting about 116K. That's 119K. 116K, right? Right about there. Once we start breaking out of $116,000, guys, if we can get good gusto on that breakout of 116K, let me hide the macro profile here and pull up our bigger range. This is also our macro 786 Fibonacci retracement. If we're looking for lower highs and lower lows, this is kind of the last place to put that in at, right? If we're going to see, a bigger dump into a bear market. Now, I can't guarantee we get up there, but, once we get above that level, the invalidation of the lower high is there, right? In which case, we could potentially start looking for new all-time highs. Until we get up here, it's very hard for me to call for all-time highs. Maybe if we get up to 97K, things start to look better. $102,000, things start to look a little bit better. It's not that we can't get the bigger breakout. I just want everyone to be aware, looking at the context of everything, it's like, this level is never broken before. Once we get above the 50-week moving average, we can actually say that something different has happened, right? Like imagine this. You're back in 2021. You've had a massive drop to the downside. You end up coming into, wouldn't you know, you come right into a 786 Fibonacci retracement, and you end up getting these bigger pops to the upside for an eventual retracement into the into the 50-week moving average. Not 95 to 96K, but you push into that 50-week moving average. There's really no reason, right? And just to give you a little context, where's that 116K 786, right? Contextually, it would be this level right here. So there's no reason to really be excited about potentially all-time highs until you get above here, not only above here, but above here, and then above here. Then you could start looking for all-time highs. So if we see that happen, well, hey, we can start looking for all-time highs. But I just want you guys to understand there is a lot of resistance ahead. Doesn't mean we can't break it, but there's really no reason to start calling for all-time highs right now because we still have a long road to the 50-week moving average. And then once we can flip it, we could say to ourselves, well, hey, we never saw this happen this late in the cycle with massive bearish divergences, and we can say to ourselves, we actually have something different playing out here. And it would, just from a technical perspective, put us in a more bullish scenario, right? Like, why is price action hanging out down here so much more bearish than it was on these bigger pullbacks in the bull market, right? Bull market pullback of 33%, about 33%. But why is this not that bad, right? Well, you're above the 50-week moving average. Now that we're below it, it's like this is now major resistance. But if we get back above it, you're kind of back in that, better scenario, right? It's just like a more bullish environment. And I would say the next stop will be 116K. And then we can start looking for all-time highs. So just playing it level to level here. So hopefully we can see it happen, guys. Maybe we get a Santa rally that shocks everybody and we can rip off into new all-time highs before the end of the year. I can't say it's super high probability with the way this higher time frame money flow looks. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't have been impossible here to see all-time highs either. But obviously, until we wound up breaking above that 786 and money flow started turning around, of course, with all this money flow coming out, the higher probability scenario was lower highs and lower lows to come. If we had gotten above that 50-week into the golden pocket 786 and flipped this, and all that money flow was cooking into the green, well, it would have looked a lot better for all-time highs. Until that happens, right? It's very conditional. If that happens, if this, then that, right? If that, then we can start looking for all-time highs. And we'll pray for it. We're hoping for it. We're rooting for it. Come on, Mafia. Everybody pray to the crypto gods tonight and just pray for that Santa rally above that 50-week moving average. Let's see. Shout out to Danny. Says, I closed my short yesterday at $85,500 because I saw it hitting that support. Shout out to you, brother. Nice move. Now I'm asking, if you close a short, why would you add to a long I missed the 4-hour. I missed the 4-hour divergences. Everything for the long. Shake my head. Shout out to Danny. It's all right, brother. I would just say, it could be a difficult situation if we just start going super bullish here. It's going to be. Emotions are going to run high, right? People are here to feel the FOMO to try to, just jump right into a long position. I can't tell you what to do and what not to do. Not something I would personally do. I'm happy with my entry down here, but I had to wait, right? I've already gone through that emotion, right? Like, I missed this long, and I'm like, oh, man, dude, imagine if we get the retracement from here. I'm going to have to, try to find another long position, and it could get very bullish and hard to enter. But at the end of the day, I sat on my hands, I waited, took the short, and then simply, right, if I'm sitting here and being like, all right, well, the only time I could take a long is if I pull back to that golden pocket, right, doesn't mean I can't make money along the way, right? Because, of course, you can catch that short here from the 92K to, 85.5. So you can make money here, and then you can catch the long position, or even if you don't do that, right, just simply waiting for that key level to get hit. I don't know exactly what you mean by why would you add to a long. Maybe how. Maybe you meant how would you add to a long. It really depends on the context and where your long is from, what price action's doing. But I would just say simply if I were in a long here, right, and we came up and came for the retracement, and I was still holding that long position with my stop loss down here, on that retracement into the golden pocket, if I see my money flow coming up, again, indicating the continuation of that overall trend, well, this could be an area where you can stack a little bit more into that long position to then increase the position size for a new continued higher high. So hopefully that helps you out. I'm not sure if I 100% understood that question, but hopefully I answered it. My salary, shout out to Rat IRL said, my salary is late till 5/12. Just wait, BTC. Just wait. Shout out to Rat IRL. Hang on, Bitcoin. Hang on. Let's see. What's the number of the 50-week moving average? It is sitting right here at about $102,300, right? And again, if we pull up our range, you can see it is confluent with that value area high, and not just the value area high, but also daily MPOC, weekly, just daily MPOCs. Sitting right there, right? So you do have a little bit of confluence in there between about 102. I'm going to call it 102K because this is going to move. If price does come up, this might move. So between about 102 and I'm going to say $105,000, right? Because it does come up to this daily MPOC up here. And you got the weekly up there as well, right? So these are the biggest levels. Just in simple fashion, I'll give you these zones so you can just mark them off on your chart nice and clean. Obviously, this zone, $92,300 is the level to flip. Above that, $95,180 to $97,000. And then once we get above there, we can potentially look in here to about $102,000 to $105,000. And then once we get above that, right, we can start to look at some bigger levels, right, the next upper levels. And obviously, there's other targets up here, but, while we're sitting down here, there's no real reason to talk about it. If we have an opportunity to project from here or here, right, let's wait till we get above there, and then we can start looking at those higher targets. So there you go. Those are the biggest levels of resistance, and right now, 92K, baby. Come on, Bitcoin. Push it. Shout out to Z, said, Frankie, this dump was because of sailors selling and turned out to be false. Shout out to Aziz. I'm not 100% sure. The reason I would say, I love, I was watching, I saw a bunch of reels yesterday. By the way, guys, tons of reels going around there. That XRP is either going to $10,000 or $750 by December 31st. I saw 3 people saying that. So, that's not what I think, but hey, I hope they're right. That would be nice. I'd never understand that. Shout out to X24, said bull market starts on the 7th of December. X24, I thought it was November 7th. What happened to November 7th, brother? Shout out to X24. I hope you're right this time, bro. December 7th. Is it the 7th of every month maybe starts the bull market? Shout out to X24. I pray that you're right, brother. I wonder if we get a pullback to 88K. That is where I would look at for the pullback. I can't guarantee it's going to come in, but that is definitely going to be the area that I'll be watching, right? Golden Pocket 786 confluence down there. Hopefully that holds up and we can continue back up into this bigger range. But yeah, if you ask me why this dump happened, right? I'm a trader. I'm a technical trader at that, right? So when you ask me why did this, that's why I don't pay attention to narratives. There's always all these different narratives. This person's selling, all this stuff. It's I just look at one thing. It's the chart. Right? And more often than not, right, everyone's trying to figure out what the narrative is. Oh, my God, we're dumping, this guy's selling. This is, whatever. Maybe those things are true, right? But whether they're true or not, all of this was visible on the chart. with all of these massive bearish divergences, all of the massive money flow coming out on the higher time frames, there's the 2-day money flow, right? And we all knew once we lost that $108,000 value area high, we were at least going to get this drop to the POC or value area low of the range. And if we slipped it, we were looking at that 786 to be that last level of defense, right? And you might say to yourself, well, were you really saying that? Well, if we actually come in here to the Discord, I'll kind of show you guys what some of those things that we were looking at were. I don't want to spend too much time trying to find the actual setup. Might be a little further down. I don't want to come into the current post because I don't want to leak anything in here. It would not be fair for the people who pay. But where is it? Where is it? Let me scrub up here a little bit for you guys. I actually shared it on the premium live stream, right? Because that 786 was not the only level that we were looking, or it was the one level, right? But we had a lot of confluence within that zone. Let me actually pull this over here because I think, where's it at? Oh, I'm in the wrong section. That's why. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? We had multiple daily MPOCs. We talked about this on the live stream as well. We had the 786. We had like 3 or 4 daily MPOCs down there. And it was the only area that we had significant horizontal support between the value area low. There it is. Right? So as we were hunting around here at 94K, it's like, well, hey, maybe we can get a bounce here. We actually didn't really get too much support there. But if we did break down, this was the last opportunity to look for a long position between that 786 at $85,500 all the way down to about 82K on these daily MPOCs. And just looking for price to come down here. If we're looking for a big significant retracement, even if we are going into a bear market and you're going to see a lower high for a massive lower low, this was the zone to be looking at, right? We've been waiting for that level to get hit for quite some time. I don't know what the date was here. Sometime in November, I guess. But, you know, massive support there, right? If you're going to get some kind of significant retracement, if it didn't happen at this golden pocket, this is the last opportunity for that to happen. Now, I've obviously already since then taken off those daily MPOCs because they're tapped. I usually delete these once they get tapped. But, like, there's the 786, right? There's the golden pocket. There's the 786. And then all those daily MPOCs were running down to about $82,000, right? We come on down there. If we're looking for the retracement, this is like literally the line that we drew, right? Not that I, try to nail the line, but that's your opportunity to get the bigger retracement, right? You have the big confluent levels. You get those bullish confirmations. And again, I missed the first position down here. I just patiently waited for the retrace, right? And then I take the long position. So yeah, but it is funny, right? Like, why did we dump? I don't know, maybe Michael Saylor sold, who knows. But for me personally, right, we've been talking about these bearish divergences, all the money flow coming out, as well as the fact that we were losing this $108,000 level. It was getting very, very dangerous because once we get below that value area high, the full fill of this range down to at least 91 to 92K was very likely. And then if we slipped that, of course, we were going to be looking for that last zone of support. Once we lose this 786, guys, going to be looking for a crack of structure to the downside here at about $74,000. So we'll see what tonight's price action brings. We'll see what we have on the charts here when we wake up tomorrow, and hopefully we don't wake up to that. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto Jammies. Said, I imagine if you look back on most of the OG YouTube crypto fam, the tech, I assume it means technical analysis, has predicted everything we are experiencing. The news is just pollutes the consciousness. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I'm not saying the news doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying that when we get a bearish tweet that won't affect price. But all I am saying is that, when we had that bearish, when we had Donald Trump send that tweet that caused this massive liquidation wick, we were short from up here. Right? And like, not a lot of people were bearish up here. We had just put in a new all-time high, and we were looking for shorts not because we thought things were going to go to zero, but just because we saw the technical confirmations, and we were just looking for a rotation back down to our value area low, which was sitting right here. We were above the value area high. We saw the bearish confirmations, looking for the acceptance back into the range and a move back down to the value area low. And then as we were in profit, enjoying that move down, we get the tweet and we get absolutely nuked to the downside, and it helps pay out our trade, right? I can't predict when those tweets are going to come out. But what I can see on the charts are the bearish confirmations. So if you ask me, I'm always going to point to a technical confirmation because that's what I look at. Sometimes I don't even know what the news is, right? Sometimes I'll be in a trade. Someone will be like, oh, my God, did you see Donald Trump tweeted? Like, we're dumping now. And I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. More often than not, I'm already in a trade, and I'm like, oh, nice, I'm in a short. That's beautiful. I didn't know he was going to send out a horrible tweet. And it's just nice, right? It's not the only way to trade. It's just the way that I like to trade. So if you ask me personally, I'm always going to point to a technical confirmation, right? Or just like the fact that the signs were, losing 108K was very bearish. Losing the 50-week moving average was very bearish. Part of the reason, getting accepted into that range was a big reason why we were anticipating the bigger drop down. So there you go. And it just, you don't have to pay attention to the news, right? Like even when I have the charts, right? Like if I have if the chart looks bearish, right? And there's bullish news, I'm probably just going to continue to listen to the chart. But that doesn't oftentimes happen. Normally when the chart is bearish, right? Whatever news comes out just winds up lining up with the TA. And not every time, but most of the time. Unless it's like some kind of shocking bullish news that no one was expecting, then it can, if the charts looked bullish up here, I probably would have been looking for a long, and that would have gotten wrecked, right? That will happen sometimes, but I would say like 8 or 9 out of 10 times it's just going to be in line with the news. So I don't even know. Who knows? Maybe they were selling, maybe they weren't. All I know is we saw the signs on the chart way before anything happened. That's kind of the whole point, right? You want to find those warning signs. You want to find those cracks before anything actually happens. Let's see. Them 10K XRP peeps waiting for that news. Shout out to, yeah. I mean, listen, I do hold XRP. I think a lot of people think I might be an XRP bear. It's not true. It's like one of my decent-sized bags. But I just, I'm not holding my breath for $750 by the end of the month. If that happens, I'm happy to be wrong, right? I actually hope I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, they've been saying that. It's so interesting that people continue to listen to that stuff because they've been calling for $10,000 XRP by the end of the month for years, and it just never happens. I mean, eventually maybe they'll be right. Maybe not, but maybe eventually they'll be right about something, but it's like, I don't know. It's like they just move it back every month, and I'm just like, dang, these people have been waiting forever. So yeah. Let's see. The tweet of doom. Shout out to Rise. Is the market going to dump before the new year? I mean, it depends. I mean, the high time frames look bearish, but I mean, we'll see. Maybe we get the Q4 rally, Santa rally, and then I'm just going to be very careful around the big key levels of resistance, right? And just to be super simple here, the full Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low, golden pocket sits at 108.7, or call it 108.5, up to about 111K. And then if we get above there, we could target the value area high. That is kind of the last opportunity to put in the lower high, right? You could see something like that play out, right? It's definitely possible with the high time frame money flow coming out. If we flip the 786, well, at that point, hey, maybe we can send it into new all-time highs. But that has to happen before I look for that, right? Let's get above this value area low, right? So, until we see that happen, we'll have these little pit stops. All right, now we're at 95 to 96K. What's money flow looking like? Can we flip the value area low and continue back up, right? Can we get above the golden pocket? Can we get into the 786? Can we get above the 786? Can we get above the 50-week moving average? There's a lot of work to do. But as we, take these steps to the upside, we can kind of analyze the new information on the chart and try to figure out the probability of seeing that bigger move up, right? I think talking about how it looks pretty likely, right, that the top is in, that is not a hill that I'm going to die on, right? Like, I don't care about being right. I care about making money, right, when it comes to crypto. So, as soon as I'm wrong, as soon as, my system and my techniques and my strategies tell me that my bearish long-term analysis is invalidated, well, guess what? As I'm always on the side of the analysis, as soon as the analysis looks super bullish, looks for new all-time highs, I'm going to be on that side of the coin, right? But, don't get it twisted, right? Like we go up to, you could still get the rejection here after a 30% correction to the upside. You could still get the correction here for a 45% move to the upside while still putting in the lower high and the lower low, right? So you have a long time to get the invalidation. Now, will the probabilities become higher? Like you could say once you get above the 50-week moving average, maybe the probabilities are a little bit higher of being able to break out, but you still got to get above those levels, right? Doesn't mean that you still can't reject from these. But again, if this, then that, right? I don't know what money flow is going to look like up here. I don't know what money flow is going to look like up here. I don't know what money flow is going to look like up here. I don't know what the chart's going to look like in general. What does the price action look like? Am I getting bearish confirmations up here? I just don't know. So we just have to sit there and wait. And if we do come up there, as long, we'll be massively in profit. And I probably will be in a pretty good position to take shots at some scalps, right? And then if those scalps do end up being the lower high, well, beautiful. We'll be short from a high all the way into the deeper bear market. And if it does scam to the upside, I'll stop out of that short for a small loss, and the long will continue to pay us out, right? We waited for this level for a long time. We looked at this as a potential scalp or day trade that could have the possibility of turning into a swing. But the base case is not to expect all-time highs. But it could turn into some, and if we come up to here, right, that would be classified as a swing trade, right? Long from down here, probably take us a few days or at least a week or so to get up there, and, it would be considered a swing trade. So we'll see. I think the final target on that setup in the Discord was $108,000, so it was in the context of our macro volume profile, which is right here, right? So that's kind of the final target. So we'll see. At the end of the day, I'm already have profits locked in and stop loss to break even. So if we come down from here, I'll still win this trade, right? I'll still make money on that trade. The beauty of good risk management, right, or trade management. You can actually take guaranteed winning trade, guys. Doesn't have to do with a magic indicator or a magic strategy. It has everything to do with risk management, right? If I get, it's not huge. I've only taken out very, very small profits. Let me pull up my face cam here real quick. Give me one sec here, guys. The exchange timed out. See if I can pull this trade back up. I don't want to leak all my information here. All right. Let me pull this back up. Bada boom. Bada bing. There we go. Right, so I did take small profits. I'll pull up the screen in a second here. Come on, baby. There we go. So I do have small profits locked in, got about $500 locked in, $4,400 unrealized. But at the end of the day, right, this scams down and stops me out. I'll make $500. Not the worst case scenario. Maybe I'll take a little bit more profit. But again, right, with the money flow and the medium time frames coming up, I do think there is a probability that we could continue to the upside, right? I don't need to be 100. I'm not all in here with my liquidation level going to get wrecked if this, again, we'll make money if we get stopped out. That's the way you want to trade, right? Because there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to get back in here and push to the upside. Even if you have money flow coming up, it looks decent, right? Like there is still a chance that you can just scam back down. So you have to protect yourself. And at that point, right, you lose the trade, you make money. It's like, man, I could have made more money if it played out bigger. But if you could turn your losing trades from getting liquidated to using a stop loss and making your typical liquidation into a small loss, that's a plus. If you could turn your small losses into wins, that's even better, right? Sometimes there will be a time where I'll lose 3 or 4 trades in a row and they all get stopped out in profit. It's like, did you really lose the trade if you made money? Maybe the setup didn't play out, but you could still win the trade. Let's see. Shout out to Mad said, Frankie, why not short the value area low, specifically looking at the money flow and green dots on the lower time frames? I think you probably mean red dots. So yeah, as we push into this local level, guys, we do have, I believe we had some 15-minute bearish divergences up here. So again, this is resistance, right? You have the higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves. And we have gotten a little retracement here, I would assume, probably into your golden pocket, 786. There it is. So yeah, I would say this is probably acceptable for some kind of a rejection. But yeah, not a bad place to maybe take a hedge. But the real thing that I'm looking at here, especially with this 4-hour red dot, if that 4-hour red dot can print with your 15-minute money flow coming out, that could give you the little continuation down. But you have I don't know. It's honestly like this VWAP flip here on the daily makes it a little difficult. You have the green dot with the 90-minute money flow coming up. Your 2-day, though, is printing the red dot. Yeah, I wouldn't say, again, if I were to look for anything up here, right, I'm already in the long from the low. If I were to look for anything at this point, I would have to look, like at this exact level here, I would be more inclined to look for a short than a long. All right, doesn't mean you can't continue up, right? But, after a big move up, like for me, I always say to myself, if I'm not long from down here, I miss the move, right? I have to wait for some kind of a retracement to enter, right? Of course, I don't have to because I'm in from here. But, if I were to look for anything here, what is price doing? Just ask yourself these simple questions. What is price doing? It is pumped, right? A lot of people think price is pumping, let me long, which is not totally wrong, right? Like price is pumping, let me look for longs, right? Meaning, let me find a key level of support down below that we could retrace into in order to get into a long position, right? It doesn't mean price is pumping, take a long position, because you might be long in the top. So yeah, only thing I can look for here are shorts, right? Yeah, the 15-minute bearish divergence, the retest into the golden pocket. Let's check the 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour VWAP coming up. 30-minute green dot was printing. Now it's an instant red dot. So that was actually looking good for that bearish divergence. Maybe we don't get that. Check the 24-minute red dot printing. 45-minute, 90, I don't know, 1 hour. yeah, we'll see what happens here. I got a lot of room to run down here, and again, it is a risk-free trade, so we'll see. If we get the pullback, I would look for something down into here. If you can get accepted in there, right, you can look for the bigger drop down to the POC and potentially the value area low. But I don't hate our 4-hour money flow and this 6-hour money flow, right? Like this 6-hour money flow tells me locally that if we do pull back, right, just like the 4-hour, right, when this 4-hour money flow crosses into the green, you're looking for a lackluster retracement for a potential higher low and a potential higher high. This 6-hour money flow could be telling us this is just now starting to cross over. This could tell us also, if we get a pullback, you can look for potential higher lows and higher highs. So we'll see. I don't hate this money flow. It could, of course, fake out, but you have a nice big red wave. This red wave has already given us pretty much a move of 25%, right? So it might be time for some relief here to cross into the green. Hopefully we get that. But for longs, I'd have to wait for a pullback here. And yes, I would say this, again, if I were to look for any kind of trade right now, it would have to be a short position. I would never long at these highs. Let's see. Shout out to Madhead said, yeah, if you're an executive at Kohl's, you'll buy the pump. Shout out to Madhead. I don't even know what that means, brother. Let's see. Let's make sure I don't miss anything here. We're only here for all-time highs. Shout out to JJ. All-time highs guaranteed, guys. Not financial advice. I'm kidding. I say that sarcastically. But I hope so. I hope all-time highs. I saw somebody on, I don't remember what it was. It was an Instagram reel. Somebody posted, someone that tweeted, like, all the bears are morons, bear market, which is like, you'll never hear me say that, guys, because I've been in this market long enough to understand and been in it long enough and humbled enough times to know that I've been wrong before. And the only thing you can do, if you're getting into trading, guys, do not chase trying to be right all the time. Get away from a prediction-based mindset, and hopefully this is a good example. Yesterday, I took this long position, and I was a little bit suspicious of cracking this high. Now, technically, we haven't done it yet, so maybe I end up being right about that. But to be honest, like I didn't even know if we were going to come up this high. And look what happened. We wound up getting the pump. Did that stop me just because I was suspicious of this being a nice long, right? I was a little bit suspicious of it. I got the key level tapped. I got the confirmations. I take the trade. If it didn't play out, I would have been like, yeah, it did look a little suspicious, but I just took a little small stop, right? And I was short from here, so that would have continued to pay me out. It was really just a hedge. But at this point, it wound up playing out very nicely. And the original plan here with the 4-hour money flow coming up was that this could be a higher low before a higher high. So it's kind of like a mixed signal. Like people will say, well, if it could be a higher low and a higher high, but you're kind of suspicious about it, what are you supposed to do? Well, did you hit the key level with the confirmations? Then you take the trade, right? It's very rare that, like, if I get the confirmations at the key level, I'm going to take the trade. It's binary, right? And you might say, well, what if it doesn't play out? That's okay, right? It's okay. You cannot get into trading if you don't want to lose a trade, right? You have to be expecting to lose a trade, and especially when you're hedged, right? So, like, just to kind of draw this out, the kind of the way I was positioned here, I was short from 92K, and then I was long. Right? Yesterday, I was like, jumped on the live stream. I was like, I'm schlong, baby. I'm schlong. And, at that point, what happens there, right? My next target for the short would have obviously been this value area low. Well, what would have happened here if price came up? And then even if I didn't get stopped out at break even, which is more often than not the case, if I got stopped out for a small loss, right, I would have taken that small loss, and this short would have continued to pay me out much bigger, right? So you don't have to be 100% sure. As a matter of fact, you are never going to be 100% sure. It doesn't matter how good you get at TA. It doesn't matter how good you get at reading the market. It doesn't matter how good of an indicator or strategy you have. You're going to see setups present themselves, and they're just not going to play out sometimes. So you have to be prepared. It's the one thing that you cannot stop. You are going to lose trades. It's a cost of doing business. All right, I always say a casino. Right, casinos, when someone hits a jackpot on a slot machine, the casinos don't close down their whole, we lost, let's shut it down, this is a scam, right? Oh, maybe casinos are a scam, but, they're not going to close down their business because someone hit a jackpot, right? Why? Because they have a strategy, right? They understand that they're going to win over time. Even on that one person, if they stay long enough, they're going to get that money back, right? So when you take up, that's a cost of doing business for them. Sometimes we're going to have to pay out a winner, right? Sometimes you're going to have to pay the market through the conditions of a loss, right? Doesn't mean that your strategy is broken. I mean, maybe you're using a bad strategy. That is definitely possible. But more often than not, I would say 90% of the problem with most new traders, or really any trader in general, is the fact that they have no plan for their trade and they have no risk management, right? They're always just chasing, I want the strategy that's just going to give me a simple indication and I'm going to be right every time. It does not exist. I looked for it for a very long time. It doesn't exist. Trust me. Let my idiotic mistakes save you guys from making the same mistakes. That's kind of my goal here. All right, let's see. Yo, shout out to Mad Ads gifting the 10 Frankie Candles memberships. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Mad Ads. And shout out to anybody who just got a membership. Show Mad Ads some love in the chat. Let's go. Shout out to Mad Ads. I appreciate you so much. Those are not cheap, bro. You were very generous. Thank you. Shout out to Mad Ads. Said it only took harassing CEOs, customer support, posting on the exchange every 6 minutes and screaming at the top of my lungs to get it back. 6 days later, said you got your money back from an exchange. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Mad Ads. What happened with that? I think I remember you asking me that. I've never had a problem with that, but I'm happy you got your money back. Let's go. I probably would have said you had a low chance of doing that. Wow. Shout out to you, brother. That's lit. I've never heard of anybody being able to do that. Shout out to Mad Ads. How loud did you scream? All right, let's see. Yeah, shout out to Just Do It. Said, look at the monthly money flow. It shows that it's going down. It could take time, of course. 102 is the monthly resistance. Yeah, I mean, that's my kind of, this is why I remain very cautious on the higher time frames, right? Monthly money flow, I'll come out over onto the Bitstamp chart just to kind of talk about that a little bit, right? Monthly money flow comes into coming down here a little bit. And of course, you have the early warning signs, right? Your 2-day money flow is already in the red. Your 3-day money flow is already in the red. Your 5-day money flow is already in the red. Your 6-day money flow is already in the red. And your weekly is also starting to come out here as well. But as much of an advocate I am for money flow, you have to understand, right? Indicators are not 100% accurate, right? They're just taking information and plotting a visual on the chart for you. So, of course, I mean, if you watch this show at all, you will know how accurate the indicators can be. But don't mistake that with something that knows exactly what price is going to do. The money flow can fake out. And just to show you an example of that, if we come on over to the daily, a really big money flow fake out that we had earlier in this cycle was right here. And this is just a daily money flow crossover, nothing that would indicate a bear market. But you can see here, right? Money flow comes down, it crosses into the red, and right back up into the green for a massive, massive pump to the upside, right? And what did that money flow do for you? It basically just shot you sideways for a minute before a massive move up. So it can be wrong, right? Like, you can't expect the indicators to be right every single time. The reason I put a lot of weight on these higher time frame money flows is because they don't cross over very often. And we looked at this yesterday. 6-day money flows. I'll just mark this off on the chart for you. There's a 6-day money flow crossover. There's a 6-day money flow crossover. And there's a 6-day money flow crossover. These are the only money flow crossovers on the 6-day ever on the chart until what we have right now. And with zero exception, every one of these crossovers have indicated that the top is in for a further bear market, right? I really hate bear market, bull market, right? It's just like, but either way, right? Crosses into the red, massive dump. Crosses into the red, massive dump. Crosses into the red, retracement, massive dump. This is the first money flow crossover, and the 6 days kind of wiggling around here. We were in the red. Now we're, about to cross over into the red. But once this green dot prints, maybe the money flow comes up a little bit. But again, that doesn't mean that you can't just put in another lower high and come into a bigger red wave. But these don't happen very often. And that's why I take these very, very seriously. It's not oftentimes that you see a massive fake out on these. And it's not oftentimes that you see them cross into the red. And right now, we're back out of the red, right? So technically, if that green dot prints and we come back into the green, it's like, hey, we're not in the red yet. I would still expect that to come out soon after. But hopefully it can give us a nice pump before that. But yeah, I would agree with that. Monthly money flow coming out. Of course, all this stuff as well. And again, don't take my word for it, right? Just like look at the chart. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance real quick. Dominance popping to the upside. Maybe we'll skip dominance for today. I don't want to, I know people don't like this, but yeah. Where's my alt chart? Let's load that up real quick. I don't know what happened to that tab. So we'll take a look at dominance. We'll take a look at Ethereum, Solana, and we'll take some requests from the chat. Please do not super chat your altcoins. I beg you. You can. It just doesn't guarantee we'll look at it. We'd be here all day. But I mean, nothing really to update here. Daily money flow, it's still attempting. I mean, it's coming up locally here, but we'll see. Maybe that red dot prints. Money flow still generally trending out. 2-day money flow still in the red, still in the green. 3-day money flow still in the red. 4-day money flow is finally still crossing over into the red. I mean, these green dots are looking to print. So no real update here on money flow. I mean, on Bitcoin dominance. But let's jump on into Ethereum. It's coming over here. Bada boom. Now, as you guys know, we have been looking at this key level of support on Ethereum for quite some time. Very similar to Bitcoin, guys, sitting here between about 28.19 and 27.18. Massive support, right? There's that 786 that we needed to hold on top of, right? We tapped it, I think, yesterday. Beautiful, beautiful hold of support there. We got back above the daily MPOC, and look at the flip of that MPOC, right? We had the 786. We tap it. We get above that MPOC and get the bigger pop to the upside. The bigger zones of resistance here, guys, do remain the same. Let me hide some of these anchored VWAPs. Let's pull our retracement from this lower high. Gives you a little bit of confluence here on your 786, and then you also have your golden pocket retracement here. So the next target, if we could continue up here on Ethereum, is going to be between 3250, let's call it 3260, up to pretty much this next zone up towards the value area high. You have your 786. This anchored VWAP I'm not really paying attention to. I'll take that out. 786, value area high between about 3430 and 3530. This is a very important Fibonacci retracement. It is an area where we can get lower highs and lower lows, right? Bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. And we are still within our massive volume profile here, right? For me personally, I need to see Ethereum hide this MPOC, right? We need to see Ethereum break out of this range. Until we get out of this value area high, there's no reason for me to even look up towards $4,000. But if we did, for somehow get up here and break out of the volume profile, we would get accepted back into these upper profiles, pushing us closer to about $4,000. But this is a far way away. So, biggest target right here is going to be about, we'll just start conservatively, 3258, 3260, right? Golden pocket retracement. Very simple. Let me see where this anchored VWAP is pulling up. Yeah, all right. So we got to flip this anchored VWAP too. So get above here. Then we can look to come into, and I'll just draw this up as a big zone, right? Like this is still our biggest zone of resistance. If we lose this 786, guys, the next big key level is going to be sitting down towards the POC, $2,300, right? And if I pull up the altcoin chart here, I'm going to have to redo some of these charts. Right, we do have the next POC zone is sitting right here, right? And of course, right, we can be a little bit concerned here, right? Because we deviated above our volume profile. We broke down. We bearishly retested. We could just be working our way deeper into this profile, right? That's why I say getting above this value area high is the biggest level to get above, right? 35 to 30. Until then, right, the higher probability could be that we get accepted into the range. After that, the next likely place for price to go is the POC. It doesn't have to be a straight shot to the POC, right? This can be very confusing. You get pumps, you can get dumps, you can range around, you can bear flag, you can do whatever you want, and eventually you are going to get that magnetic rotation towards the point of control. The thing that would invalidate that is, of course, flipping this 3530 level 2 support, right? Because then you're outside of this range. As long as we're inside of this balance, higher probability is down here. Taking a look at our money flow, looking very similar to Bitcoin. It's almost the same thing as Bitcoin. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Money flow coming up on the 4-hour. 5-hour money flow also coming up. 6-hour money flow in the green. 8-hour money flow kind of flat there. 10-hour money flow attempting to come up. 12-hour money flow kind of flat. Yeah, all this money flow is kind of flat. But again, higher time frame. Early crossover on the 2-day. Early crossover on the 3-day, right? This could indicate that the downtrend is just beginning. Doesn't mean you can't get retracements, right? But, these high time frame money flows indicate long-term trends. Long-term trends can have pretty large retracements. When you're looking at a 3-day chart, this retracement into the value area high can be 33%, right? And still be a lower high and a lower low. That's why I say break above this, then we can look for some higher prices. And even then, you still have big levels above you. But, this is the biggest level to get above, 35.30 on Ethereum. Money flow, as of right now, still looks bearish on the higher time frames. This can change, but it has not changed just yet. I will let you guys know as soon as that changes. Shout out to Captain Kirk in the chat. Said, bye, fam. Got to go to work. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Thank you for stopping by. Show some love to Captain Kirk, CandleMafia Mama in the chat. Shout out to Cap. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. And have a great night. And be safe at work. Please, for the love of God. Cap has a dangerous job. Let's see. Shout out to Redman. What is going on, Redman? Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you in here. Daily green dot disappeared. Yeah, these will flash, right? We have to wait for this to confirm. On Ethereum, I assume it disappeared on Bitcoin as well. Yeah. So we'll see, right? Maybe the daily green dot is now gone. But again, this was flashing. It disappeared. It flashed on and off a couple times. What we need to do is we got 4 minutes. Oh, man. We could still reprint it after the candle prints. But if we could print the green dot and then confirm it in the next 3 minutes, that would be nice. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Rockstar Cola said, gotta get this out. Just longed with a $3 risk. Proven Frank is right. Lost $3. I'm not laughing at losing money, Rockstar, but that is, there you go, right? Well, take that, brother. Take that. You take it, you lose it, and then, like, what you just experienced is why I don't do that stuff anymore, right? Like, I had to learn through experience, and I said this yesterday, right? I think in order to make a lot of progress in trading, most people have to touch the hot stove. Right? Because I did the same thing. Someone would be like, you have to use good risk management. You have to be, you have to manage your capital. You have to set a stop loss. And I was like, shut up, nerd. I'm going to get rich right now, moron. And then I touched the hot stove, burned myself, and then I eventually stopped doing that. So shout out to Rockstar Cola. Run the experiment. I encourage you, right? And sometimes you'll run the experiment and it'll work out in your favor. That is the dangerous thing. So shout out to Rockstar Cola. I'm glad it was $3 and not $300. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Bailey. Said, Frankie, the sauce cans were whispering to me, so I took the trade, and I didn't get stopped out while I was plowing snow. Shout out to Bailey. Well, there you go. There you go. Love it. All right, let's continue on. So we took a look at Ethereum. Let's jump into Solana real quick. Of course, we looked at Solana yesterday. Holding on to our support back up towards this POC. No update here, guys. Literally, this was your key. POC was your major level of resistance. We came up. We didn't really tap it. We front ran it slightly. Back down to the value area low. Of course, never an area to look for a short. You have massive daily horizontal, daily MPLC, and the value area low of the range. As long as you hold this level, the doorway to that PLC remains open, and that does remain the next target to the upside. That point of control sits at 145.64. So if you can get above there, flip it to support. Next local level is going to be this golden pocket anchored VWAP confluence sitting starting at about 152.48. If you flip that to support, we'll be looking up towards about 161.03. At the 786 Fibonacci retracement. Now, of course, this could be an area to get a bigger rejection for a much bigger lower high and a lower low, right? When you look at this long term, you have a low, a high, a lower, or low, high, low, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, maybe. But at the end of the day, as long as you remain within this range, guys, you can use these as your key levels. Stay above the value area low. Doorway to the POC is open. Get above the POC. Yes, you have resistance here, but maybe you get a little pullback. If you could hold the POC, we could look to continue up, eventually targeting the value area high at $202, or call it $206.50. But of course, you have a lot of resistance ahead of you, right? You have these daily MPOC golden pocket zone, daily MPOC 786 zone, and then this local Fibonacci retracement with the anchored VWAP. I think I'm going to start taking off some of these local levels on the YouTube live stream because, for me personally, right, these are areas I would be interested in trades at. But, from a long-term perspective, right, if you're just holding spot bags and you're just looking for the longer term, right, you're just going to be looking at this volume profile. Those local levels are not necessarily as important. I mean, they definitely are very important. But, at the end of the day, value area low sits here at about 124.69. PLC sits at 145.66. And then the value area high sits up here at 206.60. So Those are the main levels, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, these are still here, right? So if you get up inside that, above that POC, and you get a massive dump to the downside, you might be saying like, well, what happened? I got above the POC. Well, if you're not paying attention to these Fibonacci retracements and the money flow, you might not understand why that dump came in. But taking a look at the 2-day here, money flow attempting to come back into the green. Not enough for me to say it's a total fake out, but better than having it in the red still. 3-day money flow, kind of the same deal here, trying to come back into the green. They're trying, guys. They're trying. 4-day money flow popping back up here. 5-day money flow still in the red, printing a green dot, so we'll see how that plays out. 6-day money flow still in the red, and your weekly money flow is still generally trending out, but your VWAP is coming up. But these are definitely the key levels. If we get another push up, POC at 145.66 is your next major key level. All right, let's see. On the way down, if it doesn't close above 93K, shout out to Cherry City Bullies. Do you breed pit bulls, brother? Let me know. Are they vicious? I don't want a vicious one. I want a nice, friendly one. But yeah, the real key level for me is really $92,300. When the daily green dot is back. The daily green dot is back on a new daily candle, so we're not going to have to wait 24 hours for that to confirm. So this can disappear. This can disappear. But there it is. It's back. It's back again, guys. So yeah, pretty much, guys, what I'll be expecting here, or hoping for, I should say, flip $91,300, push up towards that POC, $95,000 to $97,000. That's what we're hoping for the move up. If we get the rejection, you're hoping you could stay above this $88,600 value area high. If you can't do that, you get stuck underneath here, probably going to get the bigger drop down through this profile. Right now, we're approaching the doorway to higher prices, but we're essentially just in between these two profiles. You want to get up here for the bigger move up, and you do not want to get down here for the bigger move down. Or I should say, you don't want to get down here or underneath this value area high at 88.6 because that would indicate that you're going to get a bigger drop down. So we'll see. 8-hour green dot confirmed, 12-hour green dot confirmed, 16-hour green dot confirmed. 2-day VWAP got a little support there. Yeah, so we'll see here, guys. I would have really liked this. If this was a bearish divergence for another drop down. Let's see. Oh, French Bulldog. Shout out to Cherry City Bullies. Shout out to you, brother. Not gonna lie. I've been in the market for a French Bulldog. Not gonna lie. The only thing is they have a lot of health problems, they say. They have a lot of health problems. I'm sure the breeder makes a big difference, but yeah, just I don't know. It's hard for me to get a dog just knowing it's going to have a lot of health problems. It hurts me. But they are so sick. I love French Bulldogs are fire. And they're easy to travel with. I want a German short-haired pointer, but that's a lot harder. If you know what those are, they're a lot harder to travel with than a French Bulldog. You just pick it up, and you just get on the plane. I would also, if I got a French Bulldog, I would name it something hilarious. I would name it like Clark or something. Yo, shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto in the chat. What is going on, brother? Said, what's up, CandleMafia? Hoping for the best. Hoping everyone is doing well. The new year will be amazing. Shout out to you, brother. Get a sausage dog. Shout out to TDK. But yeah, let me know. Cherry City, let me know. Like, what is the, I know my sister's a veterinarian. So, like, I know they have health problems, but, like, if you get a really good one, is it really that bad? Like, are the health problems that bad? Let me know. I'm interested. I want a Shiba Inu. Shout out to Sheeb. Short hairs need to run. Yeah, shout out to Redman. I've grown up with short hairs my whole life. I've actually, my family's bred them once. Not mine, bro. Check it out. I'll Google you, bro. I'm sure it's Cherry City Bullies. I'll look you up, bro. That'd be crazy if I get a French Bulldog from a CandleMafia member. That'd be fire. We'll pick up the dog. We'll bring you a bunch of CandleMafia merch and some trade setups. Can I trade you trade setups for a free dog? I'm just kidding. But, yeah, shout out to Redman. Short hairs need to run. They are hunting dogs. They are incredibly high energy, but some of the best dogs you could ever have. Shout out to Aziz. Said, Frankie, do you risk more than 5% on a trading account? Shout out to Aziz. It depends. I have some accounts that I'm much more risky with. I have degen accounts that I just like pretty much take crazy trades on, and I don't care if they blow up. But for like my real accounts, I would say personally for a new trader, I always say between 1% and 2%. right? And then like once you start getting the hang of things and you understand what you're doing, you understand risk management, you can up that a little bit. You know, there's nothing wrong with risking more than 1 to 2% of your account, as long as you know what you're doing, right? Like, and not know what you're doing as far as trading, but like you know what you're doing by risking more, right? Like a lot of people will just enter a long position here, right? They'll say, I'm going to long here, I'm going to target the POC, and I'm not going to run a stop loss, right? Or I'll run a really big stop loss, right? Well, if this plays out, or this doesn't play out, and you get stopped out for a 50% loss on your account, you have now lost half of your account on one trade. That means you could take 2 trades, or that means you can only lose 2 trades, and you're out of the game, right? Not that you can't not that you can't deposit more money, but like you don't want to do that, right? Like that's not the point. You don't want to risk. You don't want to like take 2 trades, only have 2 trades. Why can't I talk? You don't want to only be able to take 2 trades before blowing up your account. If you risk 1 trade, you can literally take 50 straight losses in a row, which is very difficult to do. It feels like in my life, I've felt like that has happened before, but it hasn't. 50 straight trades in a row, losing in a row is insane. But even if you did lose 50 straight trades in a row, you could still have half of your account left to take more trades, right? So that's why that's important. At the end of the day, no one's stopping anybody from risking however much they want. But the reason I tell people to risk, just for example, 1% is because if you're learning, you're gonna lose a lot, right? You're gonna be learning. You're gonna think you're winning. You're gonna be up a lot, and then you're gonna get into it, and then the trade's gonna lose. You're gonna take trades, you're instantly gonna lose. You're gonna learn a lot, right? You're gonna lose more in the beginning than you are at the end, right, or further into your journey. So you want to give yourself that leeway, right? So even if you put like $1,000 into your account or $100 into your account, whatever it is for you. You take 50 straight losses. Like in the beginning, it's going to feel like that. You're going to take a lot of losses. And how nice would it be to be able to take those losses and know that you still have half your account to come back the next day and try again? And another thing that does is it removes a lot of the emotion, right? Because if you're sitting in a trade and you're watching the trade and you're like, oh my God, I'm sweating, man. Oh God, I'm going to get stopped out. You're risking too much money, man. Like that is not how your trades are supposed to be. If you are emotional in your trade, now you're going to feel the emotion somewhat, but like if you're panicking in your trade and you're like, oh my God, I can't get if I get stopped out, I don't want to lose that money. Why would you set the stop loss there if you didn't, when you set that stop loss, most exchanges will tell you if your stop loss is hit, you will lose, $20, whatever it is, right? If you understand that before you enter the trade, you're saying, okay, well, my stop loss is set here because if I break these lows, the trade is invalidated. This is not legit. I'm just like using this as a random example. If my trade stops out here, the trade's invalidated, I want to get out. And then when you set up your position size and everything, it'll say, if your stop loss is hit, you're going to lose $20. Is $20 1% of your account? If so, you know that if you lose that trade, you're only going to lose 1% of your account, and you're going to be able to come back time and time again to take another trade. What does that do? It takes the emotion out of the trade. You're just looking at this and you're like, okay, cool. You're gonna be in a better situation to get yourself to a point where it's like, all right, this is either gonna play out, I'm gonna make a good amount of money, or I'm just gonna stop out, I'm gonna lose 1% of my account. I don't care. I know I could lose 50 straight trades in a row and still be in the game, right? So when you get stopped out, you don't really care because you're only losing 1%, and you know how many times you could lose before blowing up your account. So it takes the emotion out of the trades. But what happens when you have no stop loss or you have too big of a stop loss, and if you lose this, you're going to lose 50% of your account. You're going to think, oh, my God, well, I don't want to lose 50% of my account. Let me move my stop loss down a little bit, and hopefully it bounces, right? And then what happens eventually? You get stopped. You get liquidated, right? You blow up your account anyway. Trust me, I've done it a million times, right? I don't say this like I've never done it before. Like I know this because I've done it. I've done what doesn't work. I've done what works, right? So learn from me, please. People keep telling me to get a Doberman, but it's just something about the German Shepherd that I like. If I had to choose one other than a German Shepherd, I would probably go with a Husky. Yeah, German Shepherds are beautiful. Shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto, and they're great dogs too. They're awesome. Shout out to MMZ, said I'm trading my whole account without a stop loss, and I'm down 30%. Shout out to MM. I'm only down 2.8K right now. I mean, listen, here's the thing, right? Like, at the end of the day, right, we're all adults, right? If I want to go to the casino, I don't want to blow $100,000 on a blackjack hand. Well, I don't even know if you could do that, but like that's my prerogative, right? But I'm not going to cry if I lose that $100,000, right? So like if you open up an account, you put $5,000 in it, and you're like, I'm just going to gamble on this. If I lose it, I lose everything. If I make it, I'll hit big. That's fine. That's totally fine, right? But obviously, That's not going to be sustainable long term. So like for me, for my DGen accounts, like if I blow up that account 100 times, it's not going to affect me, right? But maybe the trade hits big. It's just more for fun. But it really depends. But when people want to actually learn how to trade, I try to teach sound trading strategies to help you make money consistently over time, right? $200 a day can replace a 9-to-5 like that, right? You can fire your boss like that with $200 a day, maybe even less depending on where you live. And that is very attainable, right? That's very attainable, especially if you're leverage trading, not using leverage as a gambling outlet, but actually using it in a responsible manner. It is so doable, so doable. But what do people do? They want to get in and they want to make $5,000 in a day right off the bat, right? I did not get to the point where I was making as much money as I do. I was not at this point in the beginning of my journey, right? I was taking trades and making a couple of dollars, right? I wasn't making $5K a day on the second week of trading or the third week of trading or the third month of trading or the fifth month of trading, right? It took me a long time to get to this point. But no one wants to start taking $5 profit. Right? It's very difficult because everyone wants to jump the gun. They want to get rich quick. They don't want to wait. They don't want to spend the time to learn. They just want to get in, and that's why people wind up gambling, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Nah. I guess there is something wrong with it, right? But as long as you know that's what you're doing. But I think a lot of people, would be much better off. Like, what if you didn't go for $5,000 in a day and you made $100 in a day? It's much more attainable for a new trader to do that, and it will affect your life a lot more than you think. And the slow way is the fast way, right? Like the shortcut is the longest way in trading. I promise you that. You have to understand it takes a little bit of time. So hopefully less than it took me. I fired my boss, even though my dad won't talk to me. I know he'll get over it. LFG Independence Day. Shout out to Al Jr. That's crazy, bro. Just take the first profit early. Stop loss 65%, and second after that. Shout out to I think that says Martin. I think. Shout out to you, bro. Yeah, you could always take. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, is $500 going to change my life, guys? Absolutely not. I mean, is $5,000 going to change my life? Not really. But if this stops out, right? Like, I'm not super amped about making $500, but my account does this, right? Your P&L will do this, right? And then you'll have the trades hit second TP. If I hit second TP, or maybe I'll take a little more profit up here. But, it's not just like, you don't want your P&L to look like this, right? I try to give you guys a little insight on what it looks like, right? Like, say this is your P&L. You're flat, right? You're break even. You have $1,000 in your account. Let's say you risk 50% of your account, right? Let's say this is $0. This is $1,000, right? This is $1,000, right? 50% of your account, boom. Lost your trade, half your account's gone. I know it's not perfectly measured there, right? Now you can only, if you use that same risk management, you could take one more trade, and if you lose it, you're out, and you just lost $1,000. Wouldn't it be better if you, and maybe that trade before you lost that 50%, maybe you were up $100, right, or whatever it is. Wouldn't it be better to take a small partial profit for $200, right? Or whatever it is, $50, and then you stop out at in profit, right? And you made $200. Then you lose a trade, right? You come down a little bit. Then you win. You hit TP2. You come up a little bit more. Then you take a loss. Then you take a loss. Then you take a loss. Then you take a win, right? And you hit full TP, right? Then you take a loss. Then you take a loss. Then you take a 1 TP. Right? Then you take a loss, then a full TP, right? You're going to slowly stair-step your way up. You're going to be up sometimes, you're going to be back to break even, but eventually you're going to trend up. But if you're risking 50% of your account, you lose a trade, boom. Right? Now to make that money back, you have to win so many trades or a gigantic trade to get those, just to get back to break even. And then it's like, oh my God, I made a giant gain. Well, now you're just back at zero, right? You're just back at break even. So like, you take those big losses, it takes so much to get back. You're better off just being happy with a little $100 profit and getting out of the trade, right? Moving your stop loss to break even. Even if that trade goes on to be potentially could have made you $1,000, you made only $200. Who cares, right? You're growing your P&L, right? You're growing your P&L. Oh, you had a bad week. No big deal. You get another win. Oh, you had a bad couple days, and you take another win, and then you just slowly trend up. This way, take 2 losses, you're out. Not the way to do it. I promise you. I did this a lot. Actually, I did more like this. Take 1 trade, dead. Oh, man, I hate my old trading self. Oh, God. I just look back, and I was like, I wish somebody would have just slapped me in the face and talked some sense into me. But anyway, I digress. Let's see. Stupid Bitcoin said, Frankie, launch your own prop firm. Anyway, let's continue on. Shout out to Stupid Bitcoin. Toilet paper chart in 2020. Toilet paper chart in 2020 was like this. Why toilet paper? I don't get it. Why do people go for toilet paper? It makes no sense to me. There's so many other ways. Like, there's so much more important stuff you could have been buying other than toilet paper. You could use paper towels. You could use like so many other things. Toilet paper was the thing. That's crazy. That's crazy. I hope that's when the apocalypse happens. I hope everyone goes to the toilet paper hour because I'll be loading up on water bottles. Shout out to MM said, I got greedy, Frankie. Time to use stop losses every time, and I try to grind my way out for the next few months. Yeah, shout out to MM. No one talks about that, right? Shout out to you, brother. It's beautiful self-awareness, right? I think one of the positives that I had in my journey was that I had self-awareness. I was self-critical. Every time I made a mistake, I knew it was a mistake. I didn't blame the exchange. I didn't blame the strategy. Or I'm sorry. In the beginning, I blamed everything else. I blamed the exchange. I blamed the strategy. But I'm self-aware enough to know, like, when I'm blaming they took my stop loss off. What the heck? This exchange scammed me. And in the back of my head, I knew I was just saying that to make myself feel better. So if you can have a level of self-awareness to understand, like, hey, I tried this isn't working. Like, you have to be able to identify the mistake in order to change it. You can't change anything if you don't know the mistake, right? And I always tell people, make everything your fault, even if it isn't. Because if you don't take full responsibility for things, you have no control to change it. Right? Now, maybe, you can't control a tweet. You can't control liquidity sweep. You can't control if an exchange scams you or whatever, right? Like, if you have an exchange, this has never happened to me, thank God. But if you have an exchange that scams you, right? Or, like, they don't let you withdraw your money, or a prop firm doesn't send you a payout or something like that, you could say, like, oh, this is, that's their fault. Like, and sure, it might not be your fault, but it's still your responsibility, right? Like, if you put all of your money on one exchange and that exchange gets hacked and you lose all your money, yes, it's not your fault they got hacked. Yes, it's not your fault that they didn't have the security measures. Of course, it's not your fault, but it's still your responsibility, right? And if you don't, if you just blame them, you're like, oh, it's all a scam. Maybe you just get out of crypto and you lose this opportunity, this great financial opportunity. But if you take responsibility, you could say, well, hey, I know that things out of my control can happen, but it is my responsibility to control it, right? Or my responsibility to manage it, right? So what do you do next time? Maybe you don't put all your money on one exchange, right? It's not your fault that they scammed you, or it's not your fault that they got hacked, but it is your responsibility to, adjust your plan and move forward, right? And if you don't do that, you can't change, right? Because then you're just going to be relying on exchanges to have better security, which you should, right? All exchanges have good security. I totally agree. But you can't control what they do. You can only control what you do. Right? I don't keep all of my crypto in one wallet or one exchange or anywhere, right? Like, it's all spread out. Same thing with money, right? You don't have if you have a certain amount of money, right? Not all banks are, bank accounts, at least here, are, only insured for $250,000. If you have more than $250,000, you can keep more than that in one bank account. But if that bank goes down and you only get $250 back from your $500,000, that's not your fault, but it was your responsibility to be like, I knew this. I probably should have split that money up, right? But if you don't take responsibility, you can't make the changes. My wife just heard you, and she is making everything my fault. No more home theater streams. Shout out to Al Jr. You got a home theater, bro. Let's go. That's fire. I'm on the big screen. Let's see. Yeah, FTX taught us hard lessons. Absolutely. Put your stop loss in, accept the loss if you made a bad entry. Absolutely. Right? Like I said, the exchange tells you how much you're going to lose, right? This is the sauce, guys. This is the sauce. Somebody could tell you exactly where price is going to bounce, right? I could say, hey, guys, price is bouncing here. I come up here every day and show my trades, right? Hey, guys, I'm long, right? And, of course, sometimes it's already played out, right? Just because I'm in a long doesn't mean you should enter a long. But, I could tell everybody, hey, this is a long, right? I'll never say this. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm far from a financial advisor. But I could say, hey, it's definitely going to bounce from here. Some people might take the trade, and they might close it here for full profit, right? Or maybe take partial profits. Some people are going to take this and be like, oh, my gosh, this is going to $1 million. I'm never getting out of the trade. Trader number 1 takes profit, makes money that day. Trader number 2 hopes to get $5,000 in a day or $10,000 or whatever it is, and price goes against them and they actually lose money. How'd this guy make money and this guy lose money? All about the trade management. Right? They had different plans. This guy had a plan. He wasn't being greedy. He knew where he wanted to get out, or even if he didn't know where he wanted to get out, he knew that he wanted to take the money while it was on the table. Right? When your money is sitting on the table and it's sitting there, they only give you a certain amount of time to take it and run away. Because if you do not take it off the table more often than not, right, unless you long the bottom of a bear market and price never goes down to that level, that money is not going to be on the table forever. You have to take it away. If you do not take it away, it's going to go like this. You're going to go, oh, God, I made a bunch of money. Oh, now price starts reversing. All right, I don't have as much money now, but it'll go back up. Okay, hang on, I just lost a bunch more money. All right, well, okay, well, at this point, I don't really want to take this. This isn't enough money, so I'm just going to hold it on. I'm just going to hold on and hope it goes back up. And then eventually, you owe money. You have to pay them. You lose your money, right? So you have to pay yourself when you're in the green. If you don't pay yourself in the green, what are you doing, right? What are you doing? It doesn't matter. You don't need to you don't have to, every trade does not need to be a home run. Right, does not need to be a grand slam. I let my grand slams and my home runs hit me by surprise because I take partial profits. Anytime you guys see me long from a low, and it's like a massive, big pump, I don't always necessarily, like, if this is going to be the low, you take it yesterday's trade that I was in, or that I'm in right now, right? When I took that yesterday, I wasn't even super confident that this was going to come up this high, right? I was just looking to at least come up to target number 1 and target number 2. If I flipped this and got a bigger move up, then that was extra, right? So I don't know that once we get here, we're guaranteed to go. Maybe this goes to all-time highs, right? But that wasn't the plan here for this trade. I had take profits along the way, and then maybe I'll let the winner run. I have that moon bag just run. And if it goes against me, I'll get stopped out in profit. It's a beautiful way to trade, right? It's like, and even if you're hedged, it's even better. You're in a long and a short, right? I was in that position recently, right? I was in a short and a long up here. And I was like, I don't care. If this thing flips this value area low and pushes up to 95 to 97K, I'll stop out of the short for a small loss. The long will pay me out more. If it comes down first, I'll stop out of the long for a small loss, and the short will pay me out more. That wound up being the case, right? So I just didn't even really care what happened there. I was just waiting for one of the trades to get stopped out. So beautiful thing, right? And notice that, like, these are the things, right? The trade management, the risk management is what's going to help you make money. It's not a secret technique. I mean, I guess they are techniques, but, like, it's not a secret indicator. It's not some secret strategy. There's no, like, secret crystal ball, right? It's just, like, all about the trade management. Honestly, the strategies are simple. Go to a value area low, see the bullish confirmations, you take the trade with very clear targets at the POC and the value area high. You come into a golden pocket retracement with confluence and bullish confirmations. It's very simple. You hit the key level, you see the confirmations, you take the trade. It is then up to you to get out of that trade. If I don't take any profit and it comes back down and I lose money, well, that's on me. Setup was beautiful, right? So anyway, let's continue on. Oops, get this off the chart. All right, so let's take a look here. What else do we got? What do we want to look at here? The market is also is a Rubik's Cube, 20 ways to solve 40 quadrillion variables. Yeah, there's 100 different ways that you can look at the information. There's 30 different ways you can interpret the information. But at the end of the day, you just have to stick to your plan, right? Like, if I'm in a short here and someone tells me, like, oh, you're short, I'm long, dude, for these reasons. Unless those reasons invalidate my reasons, I'm just going to stick in my trade, right? And, like, whether they win or I win is anybody's guess, right? But you just have to stick to your plan. Sui, yeah, we could take a look at Sui. Shout out to Batty. We actually already did take a look at Bitcoin dominance earlier in the stream. Not much of an update there. If you've been watching my streams for any amount of time, there's no real update, but you can scrub back. We did take a brief look at it. Let's take a look at Sui real quick. Where's our Sui chart? Is this our Sui chart? I think it's... Oh, no, I think this is it. I'm going to go ahead and clear this. Let's take a fresh look at Sui here. Just going to do some high time frame stuff for you guys here. All right, so on Sui, here is your upper profile. All right, so this is your upper balance. Let's see here. I'm going to pull this little local profile. Snipe this bad boy from all the way back here. Boom. POC, value area low. I'll actually pull it back to here and see what this gives me. Nope, I like it here. All right, so I'm not really a super big fan of this profile, only because, I mean, you can see POC is clear, magnetic, strongest magnet within the profile. You cling to it, you drop back down. Like, what is this? This is like a reverse Batman. What is this, man? This is wonked price action. This is super weird. But yeah, let me just. I'm not a super big fan of this profile, if I'm being totally honest. I mean, it does get respected, right? You can see it got respected back here. Get in here, back to the POC, hold the low, back into the POC, flip it to support, value area high is support. Get back in, it's resistance. It's just not super. I mean, you get support again. I guess it is respected. It's just very small. But I would say, I mean, look at this. Oops. You have your. Yeah, no confluence on the golden pocket there. Pull the anchored VWAP. Yeah, I mean, this is really all I can pull here, to be honest with you guys. I could see if we have any, like, weekly levels. Man, no weeklies. Everything is just below us. All right, so I'll just mark off some daily horizontals here. You got a daily here. Got a daily here. Daily here. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to keep the. I'm just going to get. I mean, these are important, but it's just trying to think of how to express this to you guys in like a simple to understand way. Because it's like, even on a lower time frame, it's like, look at that POC. Like, it is respected absolutely beautifully. But this price action is just super wonky. This is a weird-looking chart. But very simply, your value area high sits here at about $1.80. That would be the next significant target. Remain above the POC at $1.53. Look to target that value area high at $1.80. Once you break out of there, right, like I'll just kind of give you the high time frame analysis here. This is the only other volume profile that I can really see on the chart until you can get out of here and push up into this bigger zone. You might respect this range a little bit, kind of bing bong around here. Once you break out, right, like the next big target has to be 242. Once you get in there, that would be a big doorway to higher prices to potentially see 353 and push deeper into about 406. But you're a long way off of that. And there's not a lot of local levels to look at here. I mean, even if I pull this larger profile, they're holding on top of the value area high. I mean, this would be somewhat worth looking at. I mean, it's just giant. So, I mean, this would definitely be a very key level to hold. If you lose this value area high, I mean, I'd say you're probably at pretty big risk of coming to fill this wick, and maybe even targeting the POC all the way down here. So, I mean, this is definitely a huge level to hold. See if we have a, yeah, so your golden pocket. I'm going to get rid of this local range just for now. So, macro levels, I mean, you got the golden pocket value area high confluence here. I would say the last level that you could possibly hold would be the 786 at about $1.07. Once you lose this, right, like, sure, you can get the bounce here. Your hope would be to get back above this value area low. That would be the next significant level to break above, 240, 243. If you break back down into this value area high at $134, technically the next target would be the 786. Could you long it here, or could you get the bounce here for a higher low? For maybe, I mean, I don't know if you'd look for the higher high, but, could you get support here? Maybe, but, you're just below your resistance at that point. You get stuck in this range. you're at risk of coming down towards the POC and the value area low. There's not really a lot here. And I did kind of quickly mark up this chart. You know, I could pull up other significant levels. We can see if we have weekly MPOCs. Yeah, nothing, because this wick just washes everything out. There's not really a lot underneath you other than this 786. So if you lose this level, you better pray that that 786 holds up, because if not, there's nothing really underneath you until you get down here to the POC, where you also have a weekly MPOC right here. Right, so I was at like the big significant levels of support are really down here and right here. You lose this level, you're praying that that 786 holds up and you can break back out of the range. So, yeah, kind of hard. I don't want to spend too much time pulling this all up. Maybe I'll mark this chart up and we'll take another look at it tomorrow with more context. But this is what I would look at, right? I mean, you're bouncing off the golden pocket value area high. This is a pretty significant zone. You have the weekly green dot printing. You have the 10-hour money flow attempting to come up. You're hoping to bounce here. This is a critical level. And underneath that, last resort, 786, $1.08. Can't hold that. I'd say is a pretty high probability you come fill that wick. So you do not want to break back below this value area high. You want to stay out of this, right? You break back in here. Yikes. Not liking that. So there you go. That's what I would look at. I wish I can give you better analysis here, but I would have to sit on this chart for a minute and mark it all up, which would take way too long. 5-hour and 6-hour money flow looking similar to Bitcoin, looking to cross over into the green. So hopefully you can continue the trend up and get the heck away from this zone. Go. Get out of here. You don't want to go down this road. This is the wrong neighborhood. Get out of here. All right, let's see. Link. Yeah, we could take a look at Link. Yeah, Chainlink just still in the same situation it's been in. Front ran the value area low. I say it every time we look at Link. It's been for a while. We front ran this value area low. I mean, if I extend this, does it bring the value area low up at all? No, it moves it down. Yeah, I mean, this is, you still have key support underneath you. I mean, there's no saying that you're guaranteed never going to, that you're guaranteed not going to bounce here. But anytime you front run a value area low like this, it's like more often than not, I'm not saying it has to look like that, but more often than not, you do come back down to tap these levels. I mean, take a look at XRP, for example. Right? We front ran that value area low right here by like pennies. What happens? Oh my God, we're bouncing. What happened? I thought we were going to hit the value area low. You get the drop down. So it just looks very similar to Link. It's like, I'm not saying you have to come back down here, but it does make me a little bit suspicious. But you do have, you're holding the 786 currently. So, and I guess you did put in the higher high technically. So yeah, I mean, resistance and support remains the same on Chainlink here. All right, your key level of resistance above is going to be the POC. Sitting at about 1431. If you can get above that, you know, maybe we can start targeting these higher prices. But again, we're far away off of that. So watch 1431. That's a key level to break above. Do you have a confluence? Yeah, I'd maybe watch that zone up to the golden pocket. Once we can get above that POC, break above that 786, then you can start to look for a bigger move up, potentially up to the bigger golden pocket at 1941. But again, it's a far way off. We'll see if we can hit that POC. I'll even set an alert here. And then if you come down, right, your biggest key level of support is going to be sitting right here between 1137 and 1086. So I'd be interested in potential bounces on confirmations at this blue box. And then if we get the push up, potential rejections at the POC. Just really hard, right? Because if we had come down and actually physically tapped this, like let's say this price action looked like this, where you tapped into the value area low with nice bullish divergences, I'd be much more inclined to be like, let's go to the POC. And if money flow came up, right, I'd be very inclined to say, let's flip the POC and go to the high. But you have a couple of speed bumps here, right? It's like you didn't have the bullish divergence. Money flow is attempting to come up, but you don't have the bullish divergence, and you didn't hit that key level of support. So 1137 to 1086 at the key support. Key level of resistance, 1432. Money flow looks very similar to everything else. 4-hour money flow coming up, 5-hour money flow coming up. 6-hour money flow after a big red wave looking to cross into the green. So I just let this play out. This would be like a no trade zone for me personally. So there you go. Yo, shout out to Richie. Says 15 trade win streak. Frankie Candles is the man. Shout out to Richie. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being in here. Let's go, baby. We winning. Mafia winning, baby. Whether price goes up or down, it feels like you're losing when crypto goes down, but not when you're making money when it goes down. I'm personally not making money when it's going down right now. We were yesterday, but now we're making money as it goes up. Oh, my God. Shout out to Yoda. Said, please check the head and shoulders pattern on BTC weekly. It's so funny. I know exactly what you're talking about, brother. And we've actually covered this on the channel way before. Talking about how, hey, if we do get the retracement here, people are probably going to start looking for this head and shoulders. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I assume this is probably what you're looking at. Right? We'll just pull a, general, very sketchy measured move there, potentially bringing you down to 58K. Does that make sense for a target? And, of course, don't draw your technical targets with the brush here, guys. Be a little bit more accurate than that, please, for the love of God. But, if you have your, maybe that's your, right? There's your head. There's your head. There's your left shoulder. There's your right shoulder. There's your neckline. Grabbed it from the top to the bottom of the neckline. Brings you down to about, 56, 57K. Does that make sense? Is there any kind of significant support down here? Well, let's take a look. Interesting. But yeah, this is something people could look for. Maybe it plays out. The only thing is, I already saw this, right? As we were pushing down, I was like, if we get the bounce, if we get the move down to 80K and we get the bounce and that big retracement comes into that 50-week moving average, see where that comes in right here, right? Maybe it comes into that 50-week moving average. I don't know exactly how high this will come. But the only thing is, it could be a very, very obvious thing, right? So maybe it plays out. It would make sense, right? This is more in line with my higher time frame bias, is like big macro retracement for a potential lower high and lower lows to come, to eventually come visit these levels if we're going into a bear market. And, of course, 2026 would be expected to be a bear market, at least as of right now. But, yeah, definitely could form there for sure. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline. Boom. Send it down. But, we'll see. If we see that head and shoulders, and what I look at looks bullish, like if we see that head and shoulders and things look bullish through my analysis, I won't just short that head and shoulders, right? There's no, patterns are great to look at, but I would just never recommend to trade them alone, right? Trading is simply not as simple as, it could be very simple, right? But it's not as easy as just seeing a shape on a chart and being able to make a ton of money and have it play out every time. I would trade patterns, but it has to be in confluence with other things, right? So if this head and shoulders is looking like this, but we see the high time frame money flow cooking to the upside, I would not be looking for that to play out. But if we come up for the macro retracement, right? Let's just say we go for the lower high fib here, right? And it looks like this, and I see the bearish confirmations here. I won't take it based off the head and shoulders, right? But I'll take it based off the confirmations I'm looking at here. And then at the end of the day, it's like, all right, well, maybe that head and shoulders starts playing out, right? But yeah, definitely could print there, right? Especially if we get the bigger retracement. Looks very likely. So we'll see. Just not there yet. Or maybe you're talking about this. Something like that, right? In which case, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I assume you're probably looking at the bigger one that I looked at first. But definitely could set up. So there we go. Let me pull up these lower time frames real quick before I let you guys go. Still getting a little bit of a rejection, somewhat of a rejection here at the, where are we at? Is everything okay, TradingView? So yeah, we're knocking on the door here, guys. $92,300. If we can flip 92.3, this is the level to get above. If we can get above there, we can see 95 to 96K. In the meantime, we could get the pullback. If we get the pullback, I'm hoping that we can hold $88,000. Whoops. From the impulse to the high, right? Whether you're pulling it from this impulse or from this high or low, still a very, very, very similar zone. You're hoping to hold this zone between 88. I would really prefer to hold the golden pocket value area high, really like 88.6. We come down here, you're hoping to hold that and then get back up in here. If we break back down into this range and lose the 786, I'm looking for a bigger drop down. So we'll see. But I'm holding the long position. Hopefully we can flip 92,300. And we can pray, guys. We can pray. Shout out to Panda the Prophet said. Just think, in a few short years, we'll be making new all-time highs. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, right? Hopefully, it's very hard because context is very important, right? Higher time frames do look bearish. That does not mean we cannot get the bigger retracement. But just this pump, if things still look bearish up here, it does not necessarily guarantee all-time highs. Hopefully we see that, guys. I'm rooting for it. Hopefully we can see the money flow turn around, but there's just nothing I can say about that until we actually come into those key levels. So with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for today's live stream. Also, don't forget, guys, premium Discord discounts for Cyber Week are live until the end of Cyber Week. We got discounts on the annual, biannual, quarterly, and we still have some of the 2-year options available. There's only 6 of them, so get in there if you're interested. And I don't know if it's used, but you guys can try Black Friday 10. We had one more discount code left. I dropped it on the market update. It might have got taken up, but hey, if you're going to get in there, you might as well try that extra 10% code on top of the already discounted prices. But with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for today's market update live stream. Thank you all for hanging out with us here. Shout out to Servando Estrada. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Jedi Skirk. Shout out to Batty. Shout out to, and that's Batty. I'm not calling him a baddie. Shout out to RH. Shout out to Richie. Follow the Frankie Candles level. Shout out to Ricky. Let's go. Or Richie. Let's go. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Smash that like button on your way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these key levels and daily analysis. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.